All right. Hey, I got to get that off of there. What did I do? Here we go. It's David Barnett. I'm joined with Mike Finger. As everyone can see, we've got a whole bunch of fun stuff going on. We've got comic book caricatures that may or may not resemble us. Mike, for people that don't know you, why don't you do a quick introduction and tell us who Mike Finger is and who is ExitOasis.com?
Sure. My name is Mike Finger. I am the founder of a small business called ExitOasis.com. I coach small business owners who are interested in prepping their business for exit, and got here through a long road of ownership and exits and buying and selling and doing all sorts of things in this space. So I am excited to be part of your exit squad.
And I'm David Barnett, and I'm a former business broker, and I've been doing videos and things on YouTube since 2014 and answering people's questions about buying, selling, financing, and managing small and medium-sized businesses. And a few months ago, I was doing sort of a reevaluation and thinking about some different ideas when it came up to podcasts and stuff. And Mike, I reached out to you and I contacted you and I said, Mike, how is it that you are so prolific online as far as LinkedIn posts and all this other kind of stuff? How is it that you don't have a podcast about small business exit? Do you remember that conversation?
I do. And my immediate thought when you asked is, well, because I don't want to do another podcast like all the other ones that are out there around this exit space. And don't get me wrong, there's some excellent content out there in this space, but as a general rule, as you and I discussed, most of it is designed for small businesses that are larger, right? It's not that small business audience that you and I know, that 95% of owners who own a genuinely small business. We hear stories about the $117 million exit. We hear stories about, how I grew from nothing to 500 employees in 3 days and sold on a Thursday, and you can do it too. And while that content can be compelling listening, it doesn't always speak to the audience that I think both you and I, David, were most interested in being able to help.
Yeah, and so it's interesting over the course of the last, I don't know how long we've been talking about this, about 3 or 4 months, I think.
Yeah.
We've talked about different concepts and different ideas about talking about some of these stories, the true exit stories of the actual average small business. I think at one time I had proposed a working name of the other 90%.
Right.
Because what we're talking about is not the exceptional story, examples that are always held up as examples. What I wanted to do as well is participate in exposing the reality of how a lot of these transactions are done. And the reality is a lot of the transactions just aren't done.
Right.
I think we're going to talk about that. But at the end of the day, we ended up coming up with a concept called Your Exit Squad. And that's what we're going to reveal here today in this broadcast. We're going to talk about the concept. We're going to talk about the whys behind it. We're going to talk about the hows, how you people out there in the audience are going to be part of participating in what we're going to be creating, and what we hope that all of this will end up looking like as it moves on. So
right. Yep.
Let me ask you this question. Why does the world of small business need us as a misfit band of exit professionals creating a program like this?
Right. The misfit band. Well, I mean, it speaks to some of those elements that we were just talking about, right? We know if you're running a very successful, profitable small business, that exit for you is a matter of choice, right? And a lot of professionals in this space will speak to the, I can help you sell for more, we can maximize your return and all of that. And that's very compelling messaging. But the problem is that most small business owners deal with this space this way. They wait and then they fail, right? And that is how most small business owners engage the sell a business conversation. And what we wanted to do is to create a space different than that, highly technical, highly focused, gee, I hope the mid-market is listening kind of content, but rather around what is this space and what is this path for truly small business owners in that 95% of the rest of us.
Yeah, and it's, as you and I know, and as some of my viewers know who hear the stories that I've told over the course of years, um, a lot of the times you have people who are in a business who believe they're in a business, and when it comes time to sell, they realize that they don't really own the business they thought they had. They own more of a job, for example,
Right.
or that they have a great profitable business, but because of the way it's structured, it just can't be transferred. No one's willing to take the risk that they'll be able to execute on what the current owner does. And so, in our brainstorming, what we came up with was this concept of kind of like taking a reality TV show of sorts, isn't it?
Yep.
And kind of uh, creating that formula for looking at case studies. And so why don't we talk a little bit about how this, first of all, what is the exit squad? It's, in the caricature, there's me, there's you, but there's a bunch of other people. Look, I'll put the sign up again. So who's in this exit squad with us?
Right. Well, and this is really the part that got me most excited when we started to explore this this concept, because again, these owners that we're talking about who tend to wait, there is a way to change your business. There is a way to transform your small business from unsellable to sellable.
You did it.
I did it myself. I've done it to several businesses that I've owned, and that's what I help owners do on that coaching journey. But the truth is that's not a conversation that gets had very often, right? Because we can talk about it after the sale, but what we want to do with your exit squad is we actually want to take small business owners from where they are to a place where their business is ready to sell. And the method that we've come up with to do that is by telling real stories, right? So our format is fairly straightforward. What we're going to do is we're going to invite small business owners to appear as guests on your exit squad. And you and I will have done some analysis ahead of time. And the idea is that we hear the real story of this small business owner, what their thoughts are about exit. It doesn't have to be something I want to do tomorrow, right? It can be 5 years, 10 years. But this path that they're on is one that they want to bring to completion. And then the intention is for you and I to do that analysis. And for example, David, what do you see us including in that?
Well, and this is the exciting thing, and I think that one of the things that kind of fueled this idea were those holiday chat calls that I've done, where different people have called in.
Yep.
I've really gone deep over an hour-long call into the specific problem that they're having. Some of those callers were business owners over the course of the past few years. And so the important thing I want to mention is that business owners have the option of appearing anonymously.
Right.
So we really want to know the story of the business. We want to understand the challenges. We want to understand what's really going on in the business, things that you cannot see from the street.
Right.
When you see a business that looks successful and then one day it's gone, and you never get to see that the fact of the matter was they got to the last day on the lease and that was the most opportune time to close the thing, right?
Right.
That business looked like a successful business until the day it was gone, and then it was gone. So we want to be able to have people be honest about what's going on in their business. We want people to be open to hearing our feedback so people can appear anonymously. We want to find out how they got into business. We want to find out what their journey's been like. We want to find out what the performance of their business has been like, so that we can share these things with people in the audience, and that other business owners and other people that are interested in business are going to be able to hear this true story. Because some of these people are going to come to us, we're going to do an analysis, we're going to ask some questions. We're going to really reveal some things. And we might find out that the business has real problems or that the owner may not want to continue in the business, for example.
Yep.
And those are never the stories that get turned into TED Talks.
Right.
Those are never the stories that end up being big, largely promoted articles or anything like that. And the fact of the matter is that small businesses have a very high failure rate. And a lot of people who close those businesses down make a really tough decision. They go through a lot of, emotional and psychological wrestling, dealing with these issues, dealing with self-image issues as they make these really tough decisions.
Yep.
And we want to reveal some of that and show people what the reality is like behind the scenes.
Yep.
And isolate the instances where we know that we really can help these businesses, and that's where we're going to be able to bring in some help.
Right,
So,
right. Well, we had talked about three categories, right? These businesses are either going to be able to sell it,
yeah,
need to fix it, or we're going to suggest they quit it, right? I mean, those are the available buckets. And what we talked about is we didn't want to do this podcast unless we genuinely thought we could help small business owners who participated. So the idea is, if you're in the sell it or fix it category, what we're looking to do is to build a band of misfit professionals that will then be connected with these small business owners, right? So if we talk with an owner and it becomes clear they have a decent foundation, but growth is the definite need, well, we're going to hook them up with a professional who focuses on that area. That professional will have committed a certain amount of pro bono time to help this owner, with the intention that the owner and the professional come back to a future podcast episode to talk about that journey that they've been on. For the owner, there's an obvious benefit, right? They get to start to make changes to the targeted areas of their business that can allow them to get where they want to get to. For the professional, they're going to have a format within which they can show what they actually do. This is a living white paper, right? This is a blow by blow of this is what we ran into and this is how we fixed it.
mm-hmm.
And being able to show the audience of small business owners how that expertise came into play.
And so the thought or the idea, as we see it from this point in time, at the point of inception, is that we're going to have seasons of this program. We're going to introduce several new business owners in the first season. And then as those people go and work with professionals, they're going to come back. And we hope to be able to have a series of episodes of the program where we can follow the course of the business owner as they progress through this change,
right?
Making, and hey, if the business is doing well and the person wants to exit, maybe the professional we hook them up with is a business broker, for example,
right?
And they can come back and talk about, how it was like to bring the business on the market and how it was like to sell. But I think we're going to have some cases where we're going to work with different professionals to help make the business better, and then maybe they decide to sell and we go to the business broker, or not, and the owner comes back after this metamorphosis and says, look, this is what's so great about my business now, and this is how it's changed and how it's changed my life. We're always talking about how a business is a vehicle to help you achieve goals in your life, and a lot of the times business owners can feel trapped because there's things about the business that really start to restrain them, and they don't quite know how to get things done. They're an expert in what their business does, but they're not quite an expert in how they need to grow, change, or even shut down the business if that's what it's called for.
Absolutely. And for so many owners, this topic is taboo, right? This topic, I meet a lot of owners that equate exit with failure. If it's not riding off in the sunset on the yacht, I must have done something wrong. And what we're hoping to do is to normalize this topic and this process in a real world way that can help other owners look and see, not only do I need to start thinking about this and exploring it, but hey, there are real things that I can do that can change the business opportunity that I have And I know that because I watched these other businesses go through that journey. Again, I think it's a neat opportunity for the owner, not just to promote their business, but also to talk in a very pragmatic way about this topic that every small business owner that has ever lived runs into in one way or the other, right? It either happens through us or it happens to us. And we're proponents of it happening through us. So
basically the different parties that we have involved here are you and I as the hosts.
Yep.
And we have our audience who's going to be able to learn from all of these things that are going on. Obviously, clearly, this program represents a promotional activity for you and I. But for the partners, again, it represents a promotional activity for partners, an opportunity to showcase their skills and what they do. For the guests, it represents an opportunity to be able to work on their business without necessarily having to commit to the financial investment in working with some of the consultants and partners that we're going to be having join us. And for those of you who've never hired a consultant or someone to come in and work on a business, we're easily talking about people whose bills could normally run into the five figures. So it represents a real opportunity for business owners to be able to do some work on their business while sharing their experience, and they can maintain confidentiality if they desire. So that's always going to be an option for guests. What do we need people in our audience today to do?
It's time to sign up, baby. It's time to put your name in the hat if you're a business owner and you want to be a guest and participate in the program. There's going to be a link in the notes to how you do that. But you're going to take yourself to yourexitsquadguests.com.
There's an S on that.
There is an S.
And there's a brief form there where you can give us some basic information about your business.
Yep.
And we're going to use that and to determine if we want to reach out and talk with you further. If you are a professional service provider and you would like to join the squad and be amongst the roster of people that we can call upon to help people, then we also have another form up there. It's at yourexitsquadpartners.com, again with an S. And this is a place where you can fill in a little bit of information about you and your area of expertise and how you work with business owners. And for everyone else who's just interested in learning through this process and you can't wait for us to produce the first episode so you can hear these business stories, please head over to yourexitsquad.com. It's going to lead you to the YouTube main landing page for the new channel. And I would really love it if you could hit the subscribe button, because we need 100 subscribers to get our custom URL. And that's the first thing that you want when you're starting a new online presence in the YouTube world, is a custom URL. So if you head over to yourexitsquad.com, hit the subscribe button over there, and we're going to be putting this video. It's on my YouTube channel, but we're going to be putting this video onto that Your Exit Squad YouTube channel as well, to kind of be the introduction landing video for anyone who discovers it. And so if you know someone who would be ideal as a guest and they want to know a little bit more about the program, then you can direct them over to yourexitsquad.com. They're going to be able to see this video there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just a reminder to both the partners and the guests, what's driving this from our perspective is the impact that we can have on that small business audience that by and large is neglected in this space, right? You and I talked, is this an underserved audience? And it's not, it's an unserved audience, right? Yeah. And the reality is many in that audience think this exit is part of their future, and they learn in a very painful way that it's not. And again, what we're hoping to do with this podcast and the journey that we watch owners go on is to walk aside a number of business owners so that the rest can see how this can work, how you can transform your business and get to a place where it gives you what you want at exit, regardless of the format that takes.
Yeah. Well, awesome. We've had a lot of people join us here live, and I want to thank everyone who took the time to come and check out what we were talking about. And I really think that the logo was a lot of fun. I'll put it up there on the screen again. And I always wondered what I would look like as a superhero. And that's what there you go. And with that, we'll say see you later, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And please remember yourexitsquad.com. That's the main YouTube page. And sign up if you're a business owner and you're thinking that you want to exit one day. And if you know someone who's talking about getting out of their small business, who's just assuming that whenever they decide that they're ready to sell, they'll just be able to put it up for sale and it'll be gone. Maybe you could give them a little note to let them know that they should come check this out, because it could be something that really helps them and their families down the road.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, David.
All right. Bye, everyone.